It's now 19 minutes to 10, and we're now going to hear from a young Hong Kong artist, Claire Lau, who is inspired by the image of the banyan tree and its special place in the Hong Kong landscape, and indeed in the Hong Kong mindset. The banyan is the main symbol and image in her Connections exhibition, which is currently on at PubArt, which is located in Chancery Lane in Central. I went to meet Claire Lau and asked her why she was so drawn to the image of the banyan tree.
I've been working on two series of paintings, both plein air. One is the Hong Kong Banyan Tree series, and one is the Hong Kong Cityscape series. And I'm really interested in nature's spatial relationship with the city in Hong Kong, because Hong Kong is such a great, modern, large, fast-paced city, yet there's a lot of nature integrated within it. And the Banyan series is kind of looking at this relationship in a micro level, like close-up. And then the Cityscape series is stepping back, looking at it at a macro level, viewing the whole structure, seeing how things fit together.
And the Cityscape series is where, the exhibition?
The exhibition is going to be at the Chinese University of Hong Kong at Chung Chi College, the administrative building. And it's actually going to be a dual exhibition between me and photographer Professor Zhang Chanfai. And he is photographing the same locations where I'm painting. So it's going to be also a painting and photography sort of juxtaposition.
Now, you use the phrase plein air, which means you work outside. And why? Why do you do that?
I find it really important in today's digital age. Very few young people do it now. But I think it's really important when everybody is very seemingly connected online, but always completely disconnected to their surroundings. If you watch people walking around the streets, they're always staring at their phones, and you see like couples at a restaurant, having dinner, and they're both staring at their phones, and everybody, on the train you're trying to get in, and they won't move because they're staring at their phones and they don't know what's going on around them. So I think having that connection with everything around you is really important. And so by setting up my easel outdoors and observing the environment, I'm trying to reconnect with my surroundings. And I also really encourage passerbys to look at what I'm doing and start looking at what's around them. And a lot of people will pause, and their first reaction is like, oh, somebody's painting. And the second reaction is, what is she painting? And a lot of people comment like, oh, wow, you made such a lovely painting out of this old stump. And they're quite amazed by that.
And you say, you talk of people nowadays becoming less in touch with their surroundings. And this exhibition highlights this wonderful image that you have of the banyan tree, and so of course you're also reminding people that they're losing touch with nature, aren't you?
Definitely. Hong Kong, on one hand, has a lot of nature integrated with the city, but on the other hand, is also a city where you can escape nature easily if you wanted to, because there are all these malls connected by pedestrian bridges, and people are often afraid to be outside. They don't want to deal with the heat, always want to be in an air-conditioned space, and they're often just quite reluctant to be close to nature. And so through this series, I really want to celebrate the beauty and the liveliness of nature.
The title of this exhibition is Connections, isn't it? Connection. I mean, you've touched on that idea a lot in what you've said so far, but what is the significance of that title?
Yeah, basically, I've talked a little bit about it. On one hand, we seem to be getting connected through the internet, through technology, but on the other hand, we're becoming disconnected to nature and to our surrounding environment. So I really want everybody to reconnect with the environment through painting plein air outside and through experiencing the environment firsthand.
There's also a wonderful way in which nature is connected with what is man-made, the walls, the pavement, and so on.
Yes, I'm also looking at really the space in which these trees can grow in the city. So, some of them have really room to stretch out, but others are growing onto the pavement, the concrete, and they're trying to burst out. They're trying to, on one hand, can be like wrapping around the infrastructure. On the other hand, they're almost pushing their way out. And this is also them being connected. And also, I just want to make the point that actually after I painted a lot of the trees around the Xingmun River in Shatin, a few months later, the authorities went and expanded the lots of land that were allocated to a lot of these trees by the river. And when I saw that, I don't know if it has anything to do with me painting, but when I saw that, I was like, wow, actually people are starting to care, and they're realizing that we are not really giving nature like the amount of room that it needs.
It's very striking how you've portrayed these trees. You've emphasized, for example, in several pictures, the roots in a marvelous way. As a kind of assertion of life, really, isn't it?
Yes, definitely. I love roots because, I guess going back to the idea of connection, they are, connected to the ground, and they are a system, a cycle, and especially in banyan trees, the roots really spread out, and then, you've got the main trunk, but then you've also got air roots that come down from branches, and then they gradually, merge and twist and come back down to the ground, and so they form new structures, new trunks, and so it's this idea of like a full cycle, and that about banyan trees really attract me, and something very special to Hong Kong, I think. I spend quite a bit of time in France and in the US, and the trees aren't as interesting to me.
Yeah, you've really captured something about the nature of these very special trees. The kind of twisting energy in them.
Yes, I think I'm really attracted to trees that have really strong gestures. Sometimes they remind me of human beings. Sometimes they just are really powerful, and you can see the flow of energy, where it's going. They're almost like sculptures themselves, and sometimes architectural pieces. So that power in the roots and the gestures of the trees really stand out to me.
Well, that was Claire Lau, who is a young Hong Kong artist trained in Paris, and her exhibition Connection, which is a series of banyan tree images, is taking place at the PubArt Gallery, which is located in Chancery Lane, until the end of May. Well worth visiting. And on the visual arts side, of course, Hong Kong will be hosting Art Basel 2014, opening on May the 15th. And that, with half the participating galleries coming from Asia, the Asia Pacific. And that is, of course, a very exciting event in the Arts Gallery here, in the Arts Calendar here in Hong Kong. I'll be talking to a renowned artist, Carsten Nicolai, whose new work will be lighting up the Hong Kong skyline. It's an audio-visual installation entitled A Alpha Pulse.